I'm Marshall Pitts.
Module Pitts.
I'm Myron Pitts.
And we are
MP3.
Welcome to the MP3 Talk Show with Marshall, Miguel, and Myron, my two brothers here. We're glad to be here in the studios this morning. If you're wondering what we're going to talk about today, Myron's going to give you the heads up.
Yeah,
what's going on.
We got a couple of topics. Going to talk about President /45/47 Trump, and he's had
The dust up.
The dust
up with the Pope.
He's had a little bit of everything going on. A war with Iran, assassination attempt number 3, the dust up with the Pope, sharing images of himself as Jesus, just a little bit of everything. So we're gonna talk about that.
Now, why don't you when I'm doing that, you interrupt me?
I'm getting ready to get right into it.
Oh,
right?
were you? Right. I'm okay then. Topic 2.
Yeah, because you take
Topic 2.
You're backing up into the topic.
You shouldn't have set him off. Topic 2, we're going to talk about the Voting Rights Act, which was the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, which has 3 Trump appointees, I might want to point out of 9. They hollowed it out. They really crippled one of the landmark civil rights legislations that has secured black people's voting rights.
Black and brown people as well.
Right. See, now how I would have set that up, I would have said Trump shenanigans, part 300. So this is like the 300th time since he's been president that that's something at least that many times. And then I would have said, black people, your vote won't count.
Well,
and I would have started right there with those two, and then I put people on the edge, keep them going. Think about what we're going to talk about. Because that's what we talk about, Voting Rights Act.
Yeah.
And black people's vote not counting.
They're already starting in.
Already.
There's already been.
So I said all that to say that I probably should be the one that handle the setup of the topics from now on. That's what I said all that for. Even though you give us the topics.
Right.
All right.
Right. So let's start with the Pope. It's very rare. In fact, I can't even think of a time when another U.S. president in my lifetime has got into a kind of a dust up with the Pope, a back and forth with the Pope. I'm trying to think, but I just don't remember that.
And you've been alive for a lot of presidents too. It goes way back.
Well, so have you.
You're
just 3 years younger.
Way back to Dwight Eisenhower and all them.
No, not quite.
Not quite that far. A long time. You've been a long time. You've been around for a few more presidents.
But it's very, very unusual. That was the point.
It is unusual.
Very unusual.
I haven't heard of it either.
We need to stop saying that, though.
What?
We need to stop saying that something that Trump's done is very unusual. Because
he does a lot of unusual things.
Well, I think his point is just about everything he does.
Everything
is unusual,
something that we hadn't seen.
Illegal.
Think of how many times that we have talked about that and said that over the years. Mm-hmm. We've never seen this before.
Yeah,
we've never seen this before. Listen,
we've never seen anyone destroy the East Wing of the White House.
Right, bulldoze it down. Yeah,
I've never.
There's a lot of firsts.
Oversight.
There's a lot of firsts.
Now he has far surpassed the point when I'm going to say, well, you know what? I didn't think he would do that because I don't know what this president would do. No one does knows what this president would do. So,
his style is pretty. He just has a unique style.
There's no style. His
style is he likes to do things far different from anybody else and be the first to do whatever.
No. What he does is
that's his style. The rappers would say that's his style.
No. That's his style. I'm firmly convinced that when he wakes, just like I do. I'm retired. I wake up in the morning. I say, what am I going to do today? I think he does that. He wakes up and says, what am I going to do today?
Yeah.
You know what I'll do today? I'll invade Iran. That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do today. Tomorrow we'll see if I can. Who's the Pope now? Let me talk about the Pope. Mm-hmm. Let me get into it with the Pope. I don't think there's no plan. There's no run. We need to stop thinking that there's some rhyme or reason because I don't think there is.
No, that's a little different because you're talking now about. He's a little thin-skinned, very thin-skinned when people say things that are against what he's doing or what he's talked about. And so Iran war was his thing, and the Pope has come out against the war.
The Pope, as you would expect, is a religious
That's
figure.
what they do.
He's against war. Especially
by anybody doing it.
Right. Under Catholic doctrine written by another Pope way back in the day, the only justified quote unquote war is a war of defense, which the Iran war, of course, was not. It was completely unnecessary. It was Israel and the United States attacked Iran. And of course, to defend itself, they closed the Strait of Hormuz and harassed ships going through there, harassed other nations in the Middle East. And the Pope he didn't mention Trump by name. He didn't really need to, but has criticized that war.
And,
So
and that
Trump
started
has
off.
cast the Pope as somehow helping Iran or something
They
like
say
that.
he's okay with Iran having nuclear weapons.
Right, which
And
is
he's
just
never
putting
said-
words in the Pope's
never
mouth,
said.
which is also something I really haven't heard anybody else.
But another thing I haven't seen another president do that he's done recently is these depictions.
Pope Leo the 14th is who we're talking about.
Yeah,
The American Pope.
right? Of
First
President Trump,
Yeah.
shown in a Christ-like,
A pope from Chicago, right?
right? First American Pope. He's
Imagine
having
that,
dust up,
Chicago.
right? And so he has a picture of himself in a.
Which is where Obama's.
Can I get it out, please? Can I get it out? Can I get it out, please? With a Christ-like pose, with glows of light coming from his hands as he's blessing folks and doing that kind of caused a lot of upset folks.
Even among some hardcore MAGA, Make America Great Again supporters, they were upset by that. And it's a rare case where he took a step back, didn't apologize, never apologizes, never. But he did take that post down. He shared the post. Someone else had done it. It was done in some AI. It was AI generated. Is what Marshall described. Right. And there was such a backlash against even some of his core supporters. He did take it down. Then he told a lie, which is also very common for him, that he thought it was just like almost like a doctor healing someone. He didn't think it was, to him, it wasn't him being trying
but then he posted a follow-up post with, I think it was him being blessed.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in a robe?
Huh?
Wasn't he in a robe or something?
Yeah, he was in a robe. He's dressed just like the traditional European image of he was in a Christ-like.
So now my question to you
from
is,
back in the day.
Yeah, does he not? Does
Jerusalem.
You mentioned you emphasized the fact that he never apologizes.
Yeah.
So do you think that's because he doesn't realize he's wrong, or does he never thinks he's wrong?
He never thinks he's wrong. I mean, someone asked him directly. This was early on. That's what I always say about Trump. Everything all the behaviors he's exhibiting now, he's been like that for decades. Right. And certainly since he's started running for office. But someone asked him directly, there was a question about Christianity, and the person clearly knew, the interviewer knew a little bit how Christianity works. And he was like, so, forgiveness is a big part of it. Have you ever done anything that you felt you need to be forgiven for? And he said he couldn't think of anything. So, I mean, that tells you a lot right there.
Right. Well, that's a man who's.
I'm trying to think of what type of person
led a strong life.
Yeah, what? I'm trying to think of what type of person could never think of anything, because I can think of a couple of things that you two need to be forgiven for right now. So I'm just wondering what kind of person,
and right back at you,
and certainly myself. So I'm trying to think of myself. What kind of person could say they could never find anything that they need to be forgiven for? I mean, what type of person is that? That could never find anything. I mean, if you
not a completely mentally healthy person.
Okay, so.
I think that no one would say that as a mentally healthy, because it's obviously fiction. Everyone has done wrong. That's just the human nature. We can take it out of the morality.
Yeah, take it out of morality.
We've all done something that harmed someone, whether emotionally or in some case, and obviously even before he was president, he had done things
emotionally,
that harmed,
physically, mental wise. Playing games. You've done something that you need to be forgiven for.
One of his superlatives as president, I use the term ironically, sarcastically, is that he's the only president that was elected who was a convicted felon. 34 felony counts related to the sexual assault of E. Jean Carroll. It was a civil case, but as part of that civil case, the judge wrote that the reason she has a defamation claim against Mr. Trump is because we believe he did sexually assault her. So that might be something he might want to be forgiven for. But
who can we lay? I don't want to say blame, but who do we look at when we say that we've got the second Trump term, but we also had the first Trump, which led us down this road? Who do we blame for that?
You mean blame? I mean, we voted for both times.
I didn't
Who's
vote
this
for him.
we?
Yeah,
Don't put no we in there.
country.
We're not speaking French.
The country.
Don't put no we in this.
The country. The country voted for President Trump.
So do you?
the country majority wise?
Well, he said, who do we have to blame?
The majority of voters
Do you
in
blame-
2016 voted for Hillary.
Under our
the electoral college.
Under our electoral
Under our
system.
college.
Right.
Do you blame?
He won
do you
the
blame the
presidency
voters
twice.
Do you blame the voters, or do you blame Hillary for that? Which one do you blame?
Well, it is what it is. We are where we are. Why go back down that road?
So we won't go back down it again. Is
Not
my
necessarily.
thing. Yeah.
Well,
so
well-
and so we have to really kind of look inward at ourselves as Americans and say, how did we get here? Because you want to make sure that you don't get here again down the road. How did we get here? Now I will say this: President Trump is unique. We can say what we want to about him. He's unique, like President Obama.
Right.
The unicorn was unique. He was a unique.
it-
Is there going to be someone down the stretch that's around the corner?
There could always possibly be one.
Who knows?
That's right.
There might be, but probably not. And
Yeah, we
probably
don't know that.
And probably not in our lifetime.
We don't know that.
I said probably. That's what the word probably means.
I don't think we can even say probably.
I didn't say definitely.
Because we
I
just
said
had
probably.
two, as you pointed out, we just had
Well,
two of the most
proximity-
improbable
close proximity.
candidates
One-
anyone could come up with.
One led to the other.
I agree.
Yeah.
And so now
And
But
that
they were
gets us
still
around.
together.
we're
They
through
were
with the
still-
unicorns and all that kind of stuff. Now we're back to the regular candidates. And so we know
I
that.
forgot there's a Joe Biden there in between.
Yeah.
But still,
a regular candidate.
still within 4 years.
But a regular guy.
Well,
Joe Biden was
right,
a
right,
regular
right,
guy. J.D. Vance, the vice president now, he's a regular dude.
Not really.
Regular as far as
No, he's no president.
he's
Trump.
no president.
No, he's
Trump.
not. No one is.
He's regular.
And that's
as
the
far
point
as
we're
More of a
making.
traditional politician.
There's
He's
no
more of
other
a
President
traditional
Trump.
politician.
There's no other Barack Obama.
But how Trump happened really goes right to our next topic. Race is how Trump happened. I mean, that's the bottom line. There's one demographic in all of his elections, all three, the loss to Biden and the wins against Hillary and Kamala Harris. There's only one demographic that voted for him in the majority, and that's white people. All the minorities voted heavily the other way. Now, Trump did a little bit better than Republicans generally do with African-American men and some Hispanics.
Hispanics.
But still, it was overwhelmingly one way. So until we deal with this issue of race, we're always susceptible to some race baiter like Trump. And the reason he was elected is because Barack Obama, the first black president,
Scared a lot of
just
people.
unraveled some
It scared a
people.
lot of people.
Beyond scared.
Right,
I mean, it just untethered so many people. They couldn't believe it.
So we blame Barack.
And Trump.
No, Barack was the
Barack
catalyst.
I can't blame him for what he was
Right,
born.
yeah.
What he was born, African American. Biracial.
You can
So
blame
that's
his
not
election.
fault.
You can blame his election, because that's what Myron said was the catalyst. That's why people got so. And there's
And that tracks of American
There's a great
Backlash.
great fear of the browning of America, which is going on right now. And so when Barack got elected, a lot of folks were like, they just couldn't, as Myron said, couldn't
Yeah.
believe it.
Right.
And what is going on here? We've got to stop it.
And that takes us
and-
neither into our next topic.
Right.
And yes, neatly.
The gutting of the Voting Rights Act.
Neatly into the next time.
He always.
Either he or you.
he can't wait to just pump himself up about his segue.
Neatly into the next time.
So the Voting Rights Act, of course, as we mentioned at the top of the hour, landmark legislation. It was passed in 1965. The previous year, 64, the Civil Rights Act was passed. And those two pieces of legislation, just about everything the African Americans are doing now that involves
tie it back to those.
can be tied back to those. You take those acts out, you don't have a Barack Obama. You don't have a lot of the legislators that we've seen,
Or even at the local level,
Or even
county
at the-
commissioners,
That's
city
right.
council persons,
right. So-
board of education folks. A lot of those numbers would not be where they are now, but for those.
and
pieces
so
of
the court is now 6-3, meaning 6 conservatives and 3 liberal justices. President Trump he provided the decisive votes, the decisive number of justices. He has appointed 3, partly just the timing when he came along. Partly some trickery.
They blocked one of
yeah,
Obama's appointees for
They
quite
blocked
some time.
Obama's appointee for, I think, about 8 months. And then a lot of people were thinking Hillary going to win. They're like, well, okay, the Democrats will get their justice. And then Trump surprised everybody and won. Then he got that pick.
Surprised
which was really,
yes.
I think it surprised a lot of people.
Well, I mean, you two guys were wrong on that, but I was not.
Yeah, most of the nation was probably wrong. And again, most of the nation did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Right.
But in any case, so that court has decided essentially that the Voting Rights Act is not needed anymore. John Roberts has said,
and they broke it down in two sections. And when Obama was in office, they gutted it. The first little slash to it, big slash to it,
Section
was
5.
to cure out the pre-clearance version of organizations or governments who historically discriminated against minorities. They had to, when they wanted to change their voting structure, they had to get pre-clearance from the federal government.
which is to say they had to prove that it wasn't going to discriminate
against minorities.
Against minorities,
right.
yeah.
And so when Barack was in office, the Congress gutted that. They took it out. But we still had some portion of the Voting Rights Act left that if it had a disparate impact or a negative impact on minority voting strength, then it could be struck down. Well, now they have changed it to say, that doesn't matter anymore. If it has a disparate impact on voting rights for minorities, that's okay as long as it wasn't intentional.
Right.
And so now you have to prove intent.
So now my question becomes,
and that's the big part. You have to prove intent, and the standard is almost impossible to prove it from that perspective.
And then what people are saying, people on the opposite side are saying, and then we have to consider this, is we're post-racial now, right? We're no longer pre-racial, we're post-racial. Right. We've had a black president.
Which is so funny. Because,
we've had a two-term black president. So race is not really a factor, even in the South, is it?
Well, the South is.
Do we still believe?
No one believes that. Right.
Do we still believe? Well,
some people did believe that. Yeah.
But not the politicians. The politicians on both sides know exactly what's going on. This is about diminishing the black vote.
Right.
But yeah, I think there's some people who thought after I remember one of the funniest quotes after Barack Obama was elected in 2008. And this is I think it was a white guy. He was being, I think, relatively sincere. He's like, well, is there any more need for the National Association for the Advancement of, black people? Because you can't advance further than the president.
Right.
And you know what?
Had people like,
you know what? He was serious about it.
Yeah.
He was serious.
And then, you had Rush during that time saying, talking about Barack. Well, we got him elected. Barack, the magical Negro.
Yeah.
And so, you had to think about that. So it's different. It's different because I didn't realize until this Voting Rights Act was gutted that the state of Louisiana which is why the case came to the Supreme Court.
That's right, sure is. That's
because they had cut out a voting district that would be minority majority.
Yeah,
where most folks were black voters, and the non-black voters of Louisiana fought against that. They said race shouldn't play a factor.
That's why the case came out.
That's why I can't. But Louisiana has never elected a African American statewide. To this day.
Right.
And that was just amazing to me.
And again, it always goes when they jump through all these hoops to dilute votes. That's what they're doing. They're jumping through hoops to make sure that the votes are diluted.
Well, it's about power. It's about power.
That's what it's about.
But they're not, and they're thinking long term, and they're trying short term and long term. But if they're worried about the browning of America, what's the one simple way to make sure that, because they're in the majority race, right? What's the one simple way?
Have more babies.
Have more kids. That's a simple way. You're already the majority race. If you're the majority race and you have more than the 1.2 kids, or the 1. That would kill me when they divide kids up.
Yeah,
1.5 kids. If you have 2 or 3 kids, every family has 2 or 3 kids. I'm not advocating more kids, but what I am saying,
it sounds like you are.
That's one of the easier ways because they're jumping through all types. They're going through all because they're worried about their vote. Not counting.
Well, if you do,
that's what they're worried about.
If you do it right, which is what they've been successful at, if you do it right, you can if you're not the majority, you can still maintain power by some of these methods that they're using.
That's exactly what the Voting Rights Act was meant to prevent.
Right.
And so you talked about the post-racial. Let's talk about the post-racial South. So the day this decision came up, which is I think the 29th of April.
They went into action.
Louisiana, who we talked about,
They even put everything on hold. The primaries on
The
hold.
governor stopped a primary that was people already voted. 42,000 people have voted. He stopped it. We're going to redraw these districts to get rid of their one black district.
Right.
Tennessee just recently voted
play
to get rid of their one black district around the Memphis area.
It's something
and that's been a district since even before the voting. That was since 1923.
Right.
Getting rid of that. And
It's-
they're doing the same thing in Mississippi, trying to get rid of
It's
their
what
one
I've
black
always
district.
said. It's always an analogy to sports.
Mm-hmm.
You play to win. They have the power right now when they have Trump in this, and as you know, some of them
Supreme
don't even
Court.
like Trump.
Yeah.
But they have the Supreme Court on their side. They have the justices under the Supreme
There's
Court.
no checks
on
and
their side.
balances.
There's no checks and balances. This is the time to do whatever they think that they should do. They playing to win. The pendulum will swing back the other way at some point. We hope.
Well, it will. It will.
Okay, so
but that could
We
be
hope.
that could
I
be
think we
34
could
years
hope
from
in
now.
there, right.
I-
We hope it'll swing
Seems
back.
like I'm the only one that's hoping. You guys don't have much hope about that.
No, I have hope, but
We really
don't
do
have
need to bring back Barack.
we don't have the game. The day is later than I think we think it is. With some of the things they're doing, specifically with the upcoming elections. That's why these southern states are moving very fast, because what we're talking about is congressional districts.
Right.
And so they know, because of the high gas prices, thanks to President Trump's war, because of that and other things with the economy, the Democrats are widely expected to take the House at minimum and maybe the Senate. So they want to prevent that and do everything they can as much so they can accomplish their agenda, because they know their time is short.
So my point about saying all that is when the pendulum does swing and it swings back the other way to the left and at least be a little bit more liberal and those type of things, then that's the time to go for. That's the time that we need
Go
to do.
for it all.
They need to go for it all, and that's the thing that
Democrats don't tend to be like that.
Forget about this is not the '60s, so forget about all that. Can we get along?
They always
Kumbaya.
care
That's
about
gone.
how it looks.
That's done. They're worried about how things look. They're worried about things whether it's right, whether it's moral, whether it's ethical, and those type of things.
Which is a good thing to worry about.
Well,
You
change.
don't worry about stuff like that.
You
When you get a person down. That old football coach used to say that when you get them down, you kick them.
You stop.
You keep them down. You don't let them get back up. You kick them.
And I think we're not talking about doing anything illegal. It's staying within the bounds of legality.
It sounded like that for a minute.
But playing the game the same way. A good example, the state of Virginia, just to the north of us, the Democrats there, Republicans
And
are
California.
gerrymandering. They passed a 10-1 gerrymander. So they drew maps that, barring anything unusual, 10 Democrats will win to 1 Republican.
Right.
Now, let's be honest. That's not fair either.
gotta
That's
stop.
what happens in North Carolina, though. That's what the Republicans have done to the Democrats here. So until you start fighting fire with fire,
Correct.
you're going to get rolled
And you
over.
got to stop worrying about how it looks.
Right.
Democrats worry about
That's
how it looks.
that's one of the
Word.
few virtues of Trump. I would call a virtue. He just doesn't care how.
Doesn't care how it looks.
Well, it's part of it. No, that doesn't concern.
You trying to win. That's what I'm saying. If you ain't cheating, you're not trying. So what you want to do is you not worried about whether it's going to look right. And the first thing the Democrats get in office, when Barack was in office, can we always get along? Can we? Get up
More
under,
perfect
Get up under the more perfect union. What up under this tent? When Barack should have been going for the juggle.
But that's what we want in the
years.
president. I mean, and in his way, he did, because Democrats have been wanting universal health care or something close to it ever since FDR, and he did get through Obamacare.
Right.
And that's also led to part of the backlash.
But at the end of the day, this gutting of the Voting Rights Act will mean, at the end of the day, fewer minorities in
Representation.
offices, brown and black people.
That's right.
That's
The vote won't count, which is what it should have been. It should have been the topic for the black folks vote won't count.
But anyway, we'll
It won't count.
It's
Let's
a
just
little
say-
sensationalist,
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
but
What do you mean? But that's what it's saying, right? The vote
it won't
doesn't
count as much, which is still an outrage.
Right. Still an hour. But we got to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I am Marshall Pitts.
Module pitch.
I'm Myron Pitts.
And we are
MP3.